"147 days ago, the Lamborghini Super Trofeo North America Series was supposed to start their season in St. Petersburg, Florida. But due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the race was called and the season was put on hold, like most sports around the world. That brings us to today, here in beautiful Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin, at the famous Road America circuit for rounds 1 and 2. It's time to kick off the Lamborghini season. It's the Lamborghini Super Trofeo North America second round from Road America. Hi folks, Lee Diffie with you. Brian Till and Jeremy Shaw will call all the action today. But first let's look at the weather. 74 degrees, mostly cloudy and a 13-mile-an-hour breeze and a very low 15% chance of rain. The number 16 of Change Racing with the driver lineup of Brian Sellers and Madison Snow were the class of the field yesterday and took round 1. But they'll face tough competition from the number 6 Racetronics team of Stephen Agakani and Jacob Eidson. And in the Pro-Am class, the 25 of Ashton Harrison and Andrea Amici starts 5th. Another car to watch is the 63 Change Racing Lambo with the lineup of McKay Snow and Corey Lewis. Time now to go for a lap around Road America, and who better to take us than the Rolex 24 GTD class winner and Change Racing's Corey Lewis.
Hey guys, Corey Lewis here from Change Racing, about to take you a lap around Road America. As we head into turn 1 here, your braking point is just past the access road there on the left, all the way down the 4th gear from 170 miles an hour, clipping your apex point and using all the curving on your left. As we approach turn 3, braking just past the access road on the left, really trying to focus on getting a good run out of this corner as it leads down one of the longest straightaways here at Road America. Perfect time to check your mirrors, and also during the race, good passing opportunity going with 5, trying to catch a good draft. As we head down into turn 5, big brake zone, braking just past the 300 marker board, all the way down to 2nd gear, using a lot of the apex curving, and using all the track out on the right-hand side. Going into turn 6, tough corner as the car gets light over the crest, using a lot of the curving there on your right. Fast turn 7, using all the curving at the apex and using all the curving on the left. Another big brake zone here. Downshifting all the way to the 3rd gear, using all the apex curving on your left, a little bit of curving there on your right. Now the famous carousel. 4th gear corner, really trying to keep your eyes up, trying to get the good shot out that leads you into the kink. As you roll to the 2nd curving there on the right, trying to get the full throttle, grabbing 5th gear right at the exit. Now the famous kink, quick brush the brakes, trying to get the car set and planted, full throttle to the apex, grabbing 6th gear, just halfway down the straightaway. Big brake zone here into Canada corner, braking right around the 400 marker, all the way down to 2nd gear, clipping the apex point and really using all the track out there on the left for the exit. Going uphill to Billy Mitchell, 4th gear, small brush to the brakes, off camber a little bit, the car gets a little light and using all the access road there on your exit. Now the final corner, down to 3rd gear, trying to get a real good shot out here that leads to the front straightaway. As you turn in, getting close to the apex curving there, using all the track out on your left, up the hill, and that completes 1 lap around Road America.
Now for a closer look at Road America, here's Brian Till for the call.
What a great place for Lamborghini Super Trofeo action. Road America, Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin, about an hour and a half north of Milwaukee. This racetrack has been here since 1955, 4 miles long, 14 corners, uphill, downhill, and some great passing zones. Turn 1, turn 5, turn 8, and Canada corner. And we'll talk a lot about the infamous kink as well. But before we get to race number 2, let's take it back to race number 1 from yesterday. At the drop of the green, Madison Snow in that snow white number 16 Lamborghini Huracan Evo from Lamborghini Charlotte. Great jump at the start from outside the front row. He'll lead the field into turn 1 and hold the lead until pit stops. Then Snow's teammate Brian Sellers climbs aboard the 16, holds the lead as Stephen Agakani hands over to Jake Edson. Edson closing in on Sellers. Sellers with electrical gremlins, power steering issues, and this issue, traffic. Sidney McKee at the kink, the worst place you could catch a car, and Edson is now right there. The very next lap, those power steering issues plaguing Sellers off the exit of turn 7, and Edson with the lunge up the inside into 8. Nothing doing, just inches between them. And this is what makes Lamborghini Super Trofeo North American action so good. But at the checkered flag, Snow, Sellers, they take the victory. And that was so exciting, and I expect the same thing here today. Look at the starting grid there on the left side of your screen. You'll see how they line up. 4 different classes, and yesterday's finishing drivers are today's starting drivers. So Jake Edson on the pole in that red and black number 6, Brian Sellers alongside. We know the battles they had yesterday. Let's see what else we get going today. That long drive up the hill, waiting for the green flag. Waiting. You get to the top of the hill, you look to the starter, the green flag waves, and we are racing round 2 at Road America. And Jake Edson, what a start he got. Sellers had to move defensive from the drop of the green. He goes straight to the right side of the racetrack, trying to block that traffic to the inside. You see that blue and black number 1, Stephen McAleer, trying to move forward, trying to gain a position. And Edson, what a great jump. He's already got about 4 car lengths as they head through turn 3 and down the straightaway towards turn 5, the fastest section of the racetrack. These cars approaching 170 miles an hour as they get to the brake zone of turn 5, and a good battle here. The 25, Andrea Amici, the 63 of Corey Lewis, side by side into the braking zone. Who's going to get it? It's Amici in the 25, holds that inside line and wins the drag race up the hill into 6. Out of turn 6, the sweeping right-hander, turn 7, leads you down in the hill into another good passing zone. See if Corey Lewis can get back past Amici. I don't think so this time. He's just not close enough. And remember, brakes are cold. The Pirelli tires are cold as well. Weather conditions very different today. A lot cooler and not as much bright sunshine warming that racetrack. So it's going to take a lap or 2 for these cars to really come in. But Jake Edson looks like they guessed right on the setup. He's got a good car underneath him, and he is pulling out on Brian Sellers as the field heads through the kink for the first time. Down the back straightaway, 165, 166, 167 miles an hour before the braking zone. Down to 3rd gear for Canada Corner, then up the hill, the sweeping left-hand bend, turn 13, and Jake Edson continuing to pull out. He's got another car length or 2 over Brian Sellers in that second, the number 16, that white Lamborghini Huracan. He shares with Madison Snow. Completely opposite to the way it finished yesterday. What can the 6 team do today? Round 2 of the 2020 Lamborghini Super Trofeo North American season underway at Road America. Yesterday's winner, the number 16, Madison Snow, Brian Sellers. Such a great run then, but a very different day today. Weather considerably different. About 80 degrees yesterday, much cooler this morning, and you don't have that sun beating down on the racetrack, Jeremy. And consequently, what you don't have is the track temperature. It's going to take a little longer to get Pirelli tires up to temperature and pressure this morning.
Well, it absolutely is, Brian, and the conditions are very different. It's a challenge for the drivers. I mean, this is a challenging track at the best of times, and yesterday tyre wear was really good. There were really no problems at all, except for the fact that the driver who won the race yesterday, Brian Sellers, he had an electrical issue on that car. It was the car to cut out periodically in the closing stages. He was able to overcome that and hope that that problem had been fixed for this morning.
Well, absolutely, but one of the other problems was not only was the car shutting off, and power steering was intermittent at best, as Brian said after the race, and that would definitely be a handful in one of these Lamborghini Huracans around Road America. But the tables have been turned a little bit. Jake Edson now behind the wheel of the number 6 from Change Racing. Out in front, Sellers sits second, and then just behind him, the number 1. This is the first time the Lamborghini Series has been back on track this weekend. It had been 284 days since the last Lamborghini Super Trofeo action worldwide, and that's a long time to be out of the car, but Jake Edson seems that he has not missed a step. Third car in the shot there, the number 1 of McAleer, and then Brandon Godovic in that black and red number 46.
And Jacob Edson's really stretching it out. He's just set the fastest lap of the race on his second lap. It looks like he's pulling away again now, even a little bit more from Brian Sellers this time around. 2 minutes 6.6 for our race leader, Jacob Edson. The lap record around here was set last year by Sandy Mitchell at a 205.9. So conditions this morning, Brian, are just about perfect with the cool, much cooler, crisp air. And these Lamborghini Huracan Super Trofeo cars love these sort of temperatures.
Well, and remember, too, if you're thinking, well, hey, we paid attention to round 1 yesterday, this is the way they finished as far as the driver pairings go, you're exactly right, because the driver who finished the first race starts the second race, and the starting driver from round 1 will be the finishing driver here in round 2, but very different conditions, as you said, Jeremy, from yesterday afternoon with that bright sunshine and near 80 degrees on the racetrack. So cars going to handle a little differently. They will be incredibly fast this morning. We were talking about the performance of these machines, close to 170 miles an hour into the braking zone here. You'll go down to the 2 1/4 marker, all the way down, second gear, about 51, 52 miles an hour through the apex, and then blast up the hill towards turn 6. The performance on this Lamborghini Huracan is amazing, and it's the same car throughout all 4 classes, and that's really hats off to the AM drivers and the LB Cup drivers, because they're driving the same horsepower, the same downforce, the same braking capability that the pros are driving.
Yeah, you're right. Everybody has this same Lamborghini Super Trofeo Evo car that was brought in for the first time in 2018. It's a fabulous beast, 650 horsepower from these V10 engines. They sound glorious, but everybody is the same in that respect. But the 4 classes, they're based on the experience of the drivers. We've got the pro classes out front for the most experienced drivers, then the Pro-Ams, the AMs, and the LB Cup, the Lamborghini Cup, for drivers who are new to this very different race car. Kind of finding
Good battle here. You see Sydney McKee bringing up the tail of this 3-car battle just in front of her, the 33. McKee, her first Lamborghini Super Trofeo North American start. A little bit of a problem yesterday, but she really, I think, acquitted herself well. Stayed out of the way when the leaders came through after she had a problem that set her back, and did a great job of paying attention not only to what was in front of her as far as the road goes, but also what was behind her. It's Matt Dickin at the front of this 3-car train right now in the 36, and then John Hennessy, then McKee. And when you think about Sydney McKee, the vast majority of her racing experience has been in an MX-5 Cup car. So stepping from a Mazda MX-5 into a 650 horsepower Lamborghini, that's a tall order. That is a big step.
Well, it really is, and the same for Brian Hennessy, who's running directly ahead of Sydney McKee. All he's ever done is a few basically club races. Nothing. Yesterday was his very first professional race in that car number 33, and as yesterday, he fell behind that car that's directly ahead of him on the racetrack, number 36 car, another change racing machine. That's Matt Dickin, who has a lot of experience in these cars, but still classified as an LB Cup driver. And yesterday, Matt Dickin he held off John Hennessy for quite a long way, but finally John Hennessy found a way past, and then was able to pull away. But today, once again, Matt Dickin's got the upper hand at the start, so he's ahead now, and John Hennessy wants to try and find a way past.
And once again, I'm going to give a tip of the hat to Sydney McKee, doing a great job right now, and she's learning. I mean, this is what you do. You go out there and you find drivers with a little more experience, and you run with them. And remember, a couple of laps ago, she was a bit farther back than this, and I think she's really going to school. She is a student, by the way, at Brown University, majoring in engineering and economics, so she's she certainly has the intellect to get this done. So right now she's doing a little homework, doing a little study, seeing if she can't take that fight to Hennessy and Dickin just in front.
And that double major is about perfect for motor racing, isn't it? If you get the mechanical knowledge and the ability through economics to learn how to raise the funding as well, you're in really, really good shape. That's what she's tried to do here. And Sydney, she was planning on sharing this car for the season with her father, which would be a pretty unique experience in a Lamborghini Super Trofeo. But Dad's he's busy with his work commitments at the moment, so he's not able to join her this weekend. Planning that your father and daughter team before too long during this 2020 season.
Randy Solari leads the LB Cup category, and then this is the battle for second. The car out in the front of this three-car pack, the 36 of Matt Dickin, then John Hennessy, and look at this. McKee, a move, gets a little better run off the final corner than Hennessy, looks to the inside, gets it done easily into turn one. That's about 168 mile an hour approach down to fourth gear for turn one, and about an 80 to 82 mile an hour apex speed through there. So these cars create exceptional downforce. They've got an anti-lock braking system that takes a while for drivers to learn, and talking to drivers who come from other disciplines, it's a bit unique, and you've got to learn it to get the maximum braking capability out of this Lamborghini, and McKee seems to be finding a handle on it. Every lap she runs seems to put a little bit more experience, a little more knowledge in the books, and she's applying it now. She's trying to apply that knowledge, that experience to the bumper of Matt Dickin just in front.
This is the highest point on the racetrack and one of three locations on this racetrack where the cars reach a terminal velocity, which here is just shy of 150 miles an hour.
Expect to see the pit lane window opening in a few moments. And Jake Edson still adding tenths of a second to that gap every time he comes past the line. It was 2.9 second lead the lap before, and as they came across the line this time, it's extended to 3.3. Now that may not seem like much, but when you think about the speeds here at Road America, a car going down the front straightaway at 165 miles an hour, maybe even faster than that, 168 miles an hour, every tenth of a second you sit still on pit lane is many feet down the racetrack. So the bigger lead you can get when you come in for that mandatory pit stop, the more distance your teammate's going to have when they get in the car and head back out. Minimum pit stop time for a two-driver combination is 99 seconds from the timing line at pit in to the timing line at pit out. It's not sitting still, it's from pit in to pit out. So there's no hurry to get driver changes done and such. You've got plenty of time, but that is the minimum time, and you want to come as close to that as you possibly can. If it's a one-driver format car, that's 102 seconds. They leave him sitting on pit lane just a little bit longer, that mandatory stop, a little bit longer, because that driver knows the car, knows the racetrack, knows the conditions, is warmed up, ready to go at speed. So they have a little bit of an advantage. So that one driver car is going to have a little bit longer mandatory pit stop.
Yeah, and the pit stop has to be made. This is a 50-minute race. The pit stop has to be made in a 10-minute window, more than 20 minutes into the race and less than 20 minutes from the end of the race. That's the opportunity they have to make that mandatory pit stop. We've completed in this race. The window isn't quite yet open, so we will not see cars into the pit lane this summer, and at least not at the front of the field. Next time around, I think it will be likely the leaders to begin their round of pit stops. But Jacob Edson, look, he's out in front of this race. He's got a clear track in front of him. He's edging away tenth of a second by tenth of a second for Brian Self in second place. And the pace today is a lot faster than it was yesterday. Brian Self went past the line this time, 8 seconds. And he pulled out half a second on that lap. Did Jacob Edson. So he, I believe, will stay out as long as possible, hoping to build this lead before he hands the car over to his young teammate Steve Martin.
Andrea Amici in the 25 from Prestige Performance and Lamborghini Paramus. leads in the Pro-Am category. He'll be handing that car over to Ashton Harrison. Ashton, a great job last year. She had some good runs with Stephanie Simo. Podium here in race 2 last year with Simo, MX5 Cup experience as well. And Ashton Harrison is another one of those drivers that we've really seen come to grips with this Lamborghini over the 2019 season. It'll be interesting to see what she can do paired with Amici this season, because Amici immensely talented in these Lamborghinis.
Yeah, he's been driving these cars a long time, Andrea Amici, so he knows what they are all about. 27 years of age, from Rome in Italy, has 3 wins to his credit in the Lamborghini Super Trofeo North America. His last win was at Jerez in Spain, which is the final round of the 2019 championship, and looking to build on that for this year, driving with Ashton Harrison. Ashton Harrison was one of the standouts in last year's LB Cup Series. She was driving, as you said a little while ago, with Stephanie Simo. Prior to that, Ashton Harrison, she had a couple of years' experience in the Mazda MX5 series. Tell you what, I mean, that's a super competitive series, but it's very, very different between a Mazda MX5 and a Lamborghini Huracan Super Trofeo.
I'm loving this battle between McKee and Hennessy. That one still rages there in LB Cup, and now pit stops beginning to happen. We're just inside that window, and now the pit stop's happening. The 16 is in. Sellers climbs out. He'll hand that car over to Madison Snow. Just behind them, you see the 6. That was your race leader. Jake Edson will climb out. 17-year-old Stephen Agakani will climb in. Agakani was a real revelation when he stepped in last year. Missed the championship in the AM category by 1 point, and he didn't run the first 2 races. So it just shows just how talented that youngster is.
And the reason he didn't run those first 2 races because he was too young. You have to be 16 years of age to drive, to get an IMSA license to drive these Lamborghini Super Trofeo cars. And he wasn't 16 until just a few days after that first race of the season. Agonizing for him, but it was a tremendous comeback. And to miss that AM championship by just a single point just shows what a remarkable job he did, because he had a big deficit to overcome, and he almost did it in the final race of the season. But it was McKay Snow on that occasion who just came out on top.
Well, that's what was interesting to me. The 16 car was second into pit lane. They were second on the racetrack, but the 16 led off of pit lane. The 6 was still stationary as Madison Snow pulled away behind the wheel of the 16. So I don't know if they had some kind of a hang-up on their driver change, or there was another issue with the 6, or perhaps is the 16 going to be too fast on their stop? We'll have to wait and see. But any way you look at it, there was a change of order on pit lane in the pro category. Brendan Godovic now being shown in the lead, but he too will have to pit, and he'll have to get that done here in the next few minutes. If he doesn't, there'll be a penalty there. Amici still leading in the Pro-Am category over McKay Snow in the 63. Solari still leads in LB Cup.
Yeah, that was strange there for that pit stop at US Racetronics. They're generally really, really good at their pit stops, and the timing is absolutely critical. If the pit stop was too fast, and that's from pit in to pit out, time the car is stationary, but all the way in, all the way to pit out, it's a long, long way on the racetrack. And if it is too fast, it will be a penalty that will put them way down. Brandon Godova stays out in the lead of this race.
Road America, the site of the first two rounds of the 2020 Lamborghini Super Trofeo North American Championship, and it is another snowy day in Wisconsin. Madison Snow out in front, or soon to be out in front, in the number 16 as the pit stops will cycle through. Andrea Amici being shown as the overall leader right now, but he'll need to pit soon, as will Matt Dickin. That will elevate Madison Snow to the lead. There is the 6 of Stephen Agakani, and then I would expect to see behind him, I thought Godovic might have been in there as he was leaving pit lane, but it looks like, at least on the scoring monitor right now, we'll have to see how that cycles through. Middleton now being shown in the 1 and being shown in 3rd in the pro category, but I had thought that maybe Godovic had gotten out in front of him on that stop. We'll have to wait and see how it cycles through, but right now the 2 cars that run 1-2 in the overall will have to come to pit lane. They'll get shuffled back in the order, and your overall leader and the fight for the pro category and the overall win will be between Madison Snow, Stephen Agakani. Throw Middleton and Godovic in there as well, but they've got a little work to do to play catch up. Although Middleton in the number 1 that he's sharing with Stephen McAleer, right now, at least the last time by, was very, very close to the rear wing of the 6, but I think that was a timing and scoring anomaly as you look at the number 6 of Agakani right there, and I see no one behind him down that front straightaway.
Yeah, that was he's pulling away here at the front of the field. I think we'll see as they come across the line. 5.8 seconds. That's just a little bit closer than it was last time around. But I'm sure that Madison Snow in this change racing car out front, the white car chased by the red and black car of Stephen Agakani. I'm sure Madison Snow, he's got so much experience in all sorts of different cars. He knows exactly how to manage a gap. Less than 20 minutes remaining in this race, a comfortable lead. He doesn't need extend that advantage. He's quite happy if it stays the same or even diminishes a little. He's just running to his own pace right now, trying to be consistent in his marks, not making any mistakes. And if that is the case, then it should be looking good for a double victory for that 16 car.
Here's the problem, Jeremy, the way I see it right now, and I shouldn't say a problem. It's a 5.8 second lead, but before the stops, the 6 car seemed to be working a little bit better than the 16. You'll remember Jake Edson, 3 to 4 tenths of a second per lap. He was able to kind of pull that gap on Brian Sellers, an immensely experienced and talented race car driver. So not that Jake Edson is not, but he seemed to have the better car on the day. And I wonder if Madison Snow might be struggling a little bit with some of the issues they had yesterday. We're going to have to see how that lead works. But the other thing is, we saw it in round 1. Lap traffic may very well come into play, and that 5.8 second lead can evaporate literally in one corner depending on where you catch that traffic. So with 18 minutes to go, this is far from over. Madison Snow, if he is having those problems that they had yesterday, needs to hope that he can handle them as well as Brian Sellers did at the end of the race yesterday and walk away 2 for 2 from Road America when they leave here this weekend. 5.8 seconds the last time at the line, 5.4. There's that 4 tenths of a second that we saw in Jake Edson's stint. So this is far from over.
That's true, and with 18 minutes to go, it's certainly possible for him to catch him. The lap times here, 2 minutes and 8 seconds, so we can probably expect 8, possibly 9 laps to go, and he's going to have to catch him if that's the case at a better than half a second a lap. He almost managed that last time round, so that is certainly interesting. Here's a battle now for 3rd and 4th positions between Stuart Middleton, a young English driver for Prestige Performance, and Brandon Godovic, who came out of the pits in 3rd position. Stuart Middleton, having made his pit stop a couple of laps sooner, got past, but Brandon Godovic, a lot of experience in these cars and at this racetrack, is all over the back end of Stuart Middleton, who's a youngster, just 20 years of age, from Ashington, UK, England, and he is one of the Lamborghini young drivers now. He started out, he doesn't have an open wheel background unusually, started off racing Ginettas, then in the UK, which he won in 2017, and he also won the Sunoco Wheeland Challenge. That was an opportunity. We got Stuart Middleton a chance to try and back really good job. At just 18 years of age, he really impressed the team. And here he is now, a couple of years later. Last year, the Lamborghini Super Trofeo in Europe, finished third in that championship, won several races. Now getting up to come over here in the US for the first time.
Godovic now, just a little faint to the inside. That's not really a place where you want to get the pass done. This is where you want the drive. You want the run off of turn 3, Jeremy, so you can get that top speed down to turn 5, 170 miles an hour at the end of this straightaway. Heavy braking down to second gear, 50 mile an hour corner, probably the best passing zone on the racetrack.
Indeed so, and this is once again Middleton, he's just keeping that inside line blocked. It's awfully difficult to go around the outside there at turn 5. That's what Brandon Godovic is going to try, and he got edged out on the exit there by Middleton, who now takes the preferred line into turn 6. This is a super battle at the front of the field.
Good stuff here. Godovic, every corner, every lap, trying to press, trying to find a way. Looks again down into turn 8, not close enough to get it done. Just under 13 minutes to go. Agakani, 4.8 seconds behind Snow now. That lead closing down, we talked about it. Every lap, 4 or 5 tenths of a second. That won't be enough to get him there, but if he can get some help from lap traffic, he seems to have the faster race car.
And here we are back with our race leader. It is Madison Snow. Well, here's some news from the pit lane. First of all, yes, there was a problem with number 6 car during its pit stop. They just had problems getting the belts done up for Stephen Agakani. That's why he lost a lot of time. However, more critical than that, the pit stop for number 16 was a little bit too fast. Because of that, he's been served a 5-second penalty. So therefore, Stephen Agakani, if he can finish within 5 seconds of the race leader, Madison Snow, the victory will go instead to the number 6 car. Right now, the gap previous lap was 4.8 seconds. They've just come across the line now, and Madison Snow has got the message. It's now 5.082 seconds between first and second.
Well, we wondered about that. We wondered how they got the jump on the pit stop. There's the answer. It was both a problem and a little too fast for the 16. 5.082 seconds the last time by. And this is what's difficult. Now you've got to run qualifying laps. You're not really racing the car in front of you. You don't need to get past it. You just need to get closer to it. And Madison Snow is going to know that. Stephen Agakani is going to know that. There is no comfortable lead now. The only comfortable lead is more than 5 seconds, and it was not, or well, it was barely more than 5 seconds at the line the last time by. So these two drivers, Madison Snow, Stephen Agakani, are going to have to be turning qualifying laps, and Brandon Godovic now has found a way by Stuart Middleton, but I'm not sure this race is over either.
Yeah, this is a tremendous battle. It might not look like it for the lead of the race, but it certainly does look like it here for third and fourth places, with Middleton trying desperately to hold on to that position. This time around, he looks a little less defensive. I think he's finally figured out if he looks forward rather than backwards, he'll be able to run a faster pace. That was a good lap last time for Stuart Middleton. He's still losing quite a lot of ground, though, to the second place car.
Well, and you bring up a very interesting point, Jeremy, and it's oftentimes very difficult for drivers to do. Once you get past that car, he's gone, he's done. Leave him alone, focus forward, and that is exactly what Brandon Godovic has done. We surmise that he might have a little better car underneath him than Middleton does, turning faster laps. And now that he's by, we see it to be the case. And Middleton now with that slide off the corner there in turn 12. I wonder they haven't just abused these Pirelli tires just a little bit too much, perhaps going away on the number 1 car, because Brandon Godovic is going away. What was the lead for Madison Snow last time by? 4.981 0.1 seconds. That's not going to get it done. He needs to find a little bit more speed, a little bit larger margin. And how do you do that as a driver, Jeremy? I mean, you don't know what that distance is. All you can do is just lay down the fastest lap you possibly can.
Absolutely right, and the race leader last time around was a 2 minutes 8.651. You might remember at the early part of the race they were doing 2 minute sixes. Of course, the Pirelli tires were fresh then and new. Now they're quite well worn with only less than 10 minutes remaining in this race. So the tires have got a bit of a workout, and they don't have quite the same pace they did early on, but now it's down to consistency of the drivers and just making sure he makes no mistakes. But what a battle it is at the front. Last time around, 2 minutes 8.6, like I said, for Madison Snow. That was about 0.2 slower than his previous lap. Agakani was about 1/10 slower, but that swung him back to within 5 seconds of the race.
It's so strange to race this way, and now, Madison Snow has traffic in front of him. That's going to cost him time. Agakani's going to have to work through it as well. But this is what we were talking about, traffic closing that gap when we were talking about them racing each other. Well, they may not be racing for position door to door, but they're racing for that time gap in between. And any 1/10 of a second that slows you down is going to hurt. And for Stephen Agakani, I believe he's going to catch McKee in the 87, maybe down one of the long straightaways, maybe before he gets to turn one. That will not impede him at all. Madison Snow had to deal with the 87 in the brake zone of Canada Corner, and that could have cost dearly. We'll have to see at the line. 4.9 seconds was the lead the last time by. What did the traffic do? How much did it hurt? A lot. 0.9 of a second is what it cost Madison Snow. He's got to hope that Stephen Agakani catches Sidney McKee in a bad spot. He's not going to get her down the front straightaway. He may not get her down the back straightaway into turn 5, and if he doesn't get her there, then it's just short straights and corners before you get down to the carousel, and it could cost Agakani dearly. It cost in the braking zone for Madison Snow. It looked like a relatively easy pass, but it cost him 0.9 of a second. Lamborghini Super Trofeo always brings us good action on the racetrack and a little drama. This time, really not on the racetrack, it was in pit lane. 5-second penalty applied to the 16 car for too short a stop. That 16 of Madison Snow changed racing. Lamborghini Charlotte out in front, but only by 3.4 seconds over Stephen Agakani there in the red and black number 6 from US Racetronics. And for Agakani, he needs to know he's close enough, and that he can kind of run the pace that he's running. The pace has been good, both for he and Jake Edson. They've done what they needed to do, and now he is within the distance that he needs to be. Effectively, he has a 1.5 second lead over the 16 car, even though he's 3.5 seconds behind him, and about 3.6 seconds. So he lost a little bit of time, 0.2 of a second that time by, and I think for Agakani, he knows that if he can stay where he is right now, the victory will be theirs. But they're going to have another lap to do after this one. So it should be 2 laps to go from here at Road America in Lamborghini Super Trofeo action. It's not over. Can Agakani stay within 5 seconds of Madison Snow?
That's exactly right, Brad. It will be the white flag next time around, which will mean 1 lap to go. So they've got 1.5 laps of this 4-mile circuit. There is Stephen Agakani driving with Jacob Edson. They finished in second place yesterday. Jacob Edson also finished second overall at Road America last year. This is a track that Jacob Edson really loves. But now it's Stephen Agakani who is chasing as hard as he can to make sure he's not trying to close that gap anymore. He just wants to maintain the gap to lead a match with a 3.6 second deficit, with the 5-second penalty for Madison Snow. enable that US Electronics team to come away with the victory. But it's still say a lap and a half to go.
Stephen Agakani just 3.5 seconds behind Madison Snow, but that may very well be enough. As we understand, a 5-second penalty will be applied to the number 16 car, Madison Snow, that beautiful white Lamborghini Huracan Evo that you saw flash by. That is the car that leads on the racetrack, but if that penalty is applied, or when that penalty is applied, he needs to be 5 seconds in front of this young man, Stephen Agakani. It was just 3.6 seconds at the line the last time by. Snow doing everything he can, but I really feel, and I felt this from the beginning, that perhaps they had a little better handle on the setup of the number 6 this morning than the guys down at Change Racing with the 16. I think Shane Cineverante, and there's the white flag, Shane Cineverante and his guys at US Racetronics perhaps found a little magic overnight and got the weather guess just right, because that 6 has been on rails in the hands of Jacob Edson, who was able to pull 3, 4, 5 tenths of a second a lap away from Brian Sellers. And then when they did the driver change, young Stephen Agakani able to do the same thing, 3.6 seconds again at the line. But knowing Stephen Agakani and watching him drive in different series, he hasn't really slowed down. This young man, I mean, he's running a race pace. He doesn't have to run a qualifying pace like we were talking earlier, but something tells me, Jeremy, he'd like to be in front at the checkered flag, even though he may get the victory for being behind the 16 and within 5 seconds. Still, you want to be the first person to cross the line.
Hey, he's 17 years of age, racing in the Lamborghini Super Trofeo North America. I mean, this is a big deal for him. Yes, he does, but he'll be the Shane Cineverante and Peter Jacobs, the race engineer. They'll be on the radio to Stephen Agakani, telling him exactly what he has to do. And Stephen's a bright young man. I mean, he gets it. He wants to have a big future in this sport. And the way he's driving right now, there's no doubt, I think it could well come his way. He's driving absolutely perfectly now. He's chasing after Madison Snow. He's only 24 years of age, but has got a massive amount of experience in all sorts of different cars. Madison Snow and his co-driver, Brian Sellers, they won the Rolex 24 at Daytona for Lamborghini in the GTD category, alongside Corey Lewis, by the way, who's also leading the Pro-Am class today in car number 63 for Change Racing. But, you know, this has been a great drive by both of these two.
Change Racing swept all 4 classes yesterday. Swept all 4 classes yesterday, and they are in the lead in all 4 classes on the racetrack today. Madison Snow out of the final corner, up the front straightaway. Stephen Agakani sweeps wide. He's in second. Madison Snow takes the checkered flag. What's important, that number on the screen beside Stephen Agakani, what's the gap? It was 3.6 seconds. He needs to be within 5. And I believe it's going to stay under 5 seconds. And the way we understand it, with a 5-second penalty being applied, the victory is going to go to Stephen Agakani, not the way that they finished on the racetrack. The 63, Corey Lewis, a good run for Lewis and McKay Snow. They'll take the victory in Pro-Am up the front straightaway. And as I said, Change Racing, what a great job they did yesterday. They finished in front all 4 classes today as well, just like they did yesterday, but that penalty for the 16 is going to be costly. Corey Lewis takes the victory in Pro-Am. Gomez still leading in Am, and Randy Solari, another Change Racing driver in the 03, looks like he'll bring home the victory in LB Cup. There's the 29 of Gomez through the final corner up the front straightaway, uncontested. And now just waiting on that 03 of Randy Solari to take the checker flag. They'll be scratching their heads at Change Racing, an organization so incredibly professional, and it is so difficult to do these pit stops to the time. You've got to know when your car crosses the line on the way in. You've got to time your driver change. You've got to time when you want the car to start rolling to make sure it crosses the line at pit out, not less than the margin that you've been given, that 99-second time for the 2 driver combinations as Solari crosses the line, takes the victory in LB Cup. And it's difficult to do, and it doesn't matter how much you're under. If you're under, there will be a penalty applied.
back to Road America here in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin, where race 2 of the Lamborghini Super Trofeo North America Series has been run. Let's go to Victory Lane and hear from the winners.
It was insane. The first day, we had a little bit of car issues, and we were, just coming back ready to be here for the second day. Jacob had an amazing first drive, and just knocking lap after lap out, just getting a bigger gap. Had a little bit of a issue in the pit lane, but made it up back towards the end of the race, and here we are on top of the podium, and it's just an amazing feeling to be here, especially after such a long off season. It just feels amazing to be back in the race car. It feels really good.
Oh my gosh, my anxiety level was through the roof, but I had a lot of faith in Steven. his driving ability, especially in that stint, was just absolutely incredible. And I'm so happy for him, so happy for the team. It's been a crazy weekend in a good way, and I'm so excited. I can't really explain it.
Well, congratulations to Stephen Agakani and Jake Edson on their victory after that post-race penalty for Brian Sellers and Madison Snow. So they take their first win in the Pro category of 2020. McKay Snow, Corey Lewis, they'll take the victory in Pro-Am. Victor Gomez comes home with the big trophy in the Am category. And Randy Solari, a double win on the weekend. Great weekend for him in LB Cup. Now let's take a look at the championship points after 2 rounds. They're as close as the action on the racetrack. In the Pro category, Brian Sellers, Madison Snow, Jake Edson, Stephen Agakani, all tied. Each one has a win, a second, and a pole. So this championship is going to be a barn burner all season long. In the Pro-Am Championship, Corey Lewis and McKay Snow lead over the pair of Andrea Amici and Ashton Harrison, then Leo Lamellis. Right now in Am, Victor Gomez owns that championship. And in LB Cup, Randy Solari, with that double victory here this weekend, leads the points over John Hennessy, Sidney McKee, and Matt Dickin.
The next race here on NBCSN for the Lamborghini Super Trofeo Series will be rounds 3 and 4 from the Michelin GT Challenge at VIR, the 18-turn, 3 1/4 mile beautiful road course in Alton, Virginia. NBC Sports is your exclusive home for IMSA sports car racing. The Lamborghini Super Trofeo North America Series put on a terrific show, and we want to congratulate the winners and thank you for watching. See you soon.
This copyrighted telecast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or used in any form without the authorized written consent of the International Motorsports Association. We would like to thank all of our loyal fans for your continued support, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.